everyone, Alexa Donne here, and today I want to tackle something a little bit controversial. I mean, it shouldn't be controversial, but it is. This comes up a lot on places like Reddit, anywhere that you have aspiring writers, especially baby writers who are maybe a little bit unrealistic about writing novels and or defensive. And that magical big question is, do you have to be a reader in order to be a writer? And I covered this in a video before, kind of, in my 7 myths that I hate, 7 writing myths that I hate, and 1 truth. And that truth was and remains, you do have to be a reader in order to be a writer. This seems like common sense to me. You want to write words that people will read, shouldn't you read words that other people write? Right? But it's controversial because a lot of people disagree. And often the people who disagree are obviously those who don't read. They don't read. They don't read books. They don't read... Well, that's the main one. It always tends to be books. It's people who say, well, I don't have time to read books, or I haven't found books that I like, or, oh, books are so stuffy and lame, but my dream is to write books. And then I'm sitting here like, why should I as a reader give you as a writer the time of day, my time, if you don't read books? Most readers are readers. We love books. And we want to read books by people who also love books, who respect the art of writing. Because the thing is, writing is a specific medium, like words on the page. It's a magical, specific thing. The rhythm of how like sentences come together. I mean, here I am. I'm talking to you on this video, and I am talking in a way that would look really weird on the page. If I just transposed everything that I was doing right now with all my ums and my pauses and my superfluous transitions, it would be gobbledygook. The way that we speak and the way that we orally communicate story is not the same as writing it on the page. Visual storytelling is different from writing it on the page. There are things that you need to consider and do and be as a storyteller if, say, you're a filmmaker making television and so on, that are missing when it comes to writing like novels, like long form fiction on the page. It's why it can be such a transition to move from one medium to the other. You need to read in order to be a writer. When you read, you get a sense for sentence structure and craft, and often plot beats, and the way that you move a story on the page by reading. Now, I don't want to be a jerk, but often I find that the individuals who adamantly are like, oh, but I don't want to read, I don't have time to read, I'm a brilliant writer, people need to read my words, I'm going to write the story that, isn't out there. Well, first of all, often the story is out there, but they don't read books, so they have no freaking clue that this magical magnum opus that only they can write, the genius writer, often already exists. Oh man, I'm just throwing shade. So I don't want to be a jerk, but I can't help it. Like, I'm a reader. I have this knee-jerk reaction, as I'm sure many of you do as well, to like, why wouldn't you want to read books? Books are amazing. It's like, oh, it's like a movie in your mind on the page. There's just stuff that a book can do that other mediums of storytelling can't do. It's a magical specific medium. And of course, writing one is really, really hard. So I think the people who are so defensive, they're kind of lazy. There is a caveat to this, and I'm going to get to it. Don't worry, I've got you covered. Reluctant readers or people who read books in other forms. I am not a total physical book snob. You don't have to physically sit and thumb through one of these to be a reader. There are many ways to be a reader. But if you're not willing to engage in any of those forms of reading books, you shouldn't be writing one. And of course, at the same time, why pull my hair out about this and ranted a video about it? Because at the end of the day, any individual who's puffing up their chest and going, I don't have to read books, I'm better than that, I don't have time, I'm gonna write the world's greatest book despite not reading books, they're gonna fail. They're not gonna write the world's greatest book and get an agent for it and sell it, because when someone reads what they've written, it's probably going to be incredibly clear that they have no idea how to write a story because they don't read any stories. So, why get bent out of shape about someone who's frankly going nowhere fast, right? But I don't know. It really just it gets me when people say this. I roll my eyes and I go, yeah, good luck with that, sir. Have fun never reading and writing the next great American novel. So let's talk about all the different ways that you can be a reader and consumer of story in order to be a better writer. So first of all, physically reading a book, whether it's in a, this is a paperback, but we'll call it a hard copy. Jane Eyre. Whether it is a hard copy book or it's on your e-reader, but your eyes going over the words on the page is the barest, most basic way to read and consume story. You should do it. But you know what? Audiobooks count. I know that there are some book snobs out there who are listening to an audiobook is not the same as reading. It is the same as reading. You're just being read to. And that's the same thing. Our parents read to us when you're younger. You go to story time, the librarian or the teacher reads to you. You're still reading books. You're consuming stories that are written on the page. They're written somewhere. The audiobook reader is reading the written word. So you're hearing the rhythm and the style of the sentences, and you can still get the storytelling craft from that. So audiobooks totally count. So if you don't have pockets of time to physically pick up your book, but you have a commute and you can listen to audiobooks, listen to audiobooks. That is reading. Graphic novels are also reading. Graphic novels are basically books with dynamic visual imagery, with pictures. I 100% recommend graphic novels to what we call reluctant readers. Someone who is I'm not a reader, I can't read books, etc. Often this is younger people, and not to draw kind of gender lines, but we do see this more often in young men, boys. Graphic novels totally count as reading. You're not obviously going to get the same sentence level prose craft from a graphic novel, but you are going to get the storytelling beats, kind of the rhythm of character development and world building. You can get a lot out of a graphic novel just the same as you can get it out of a long form novel. The key is to consume books in any way that you can, to consume story in any way that you can. And now you're going to say, but Alexa, doesn't that mean that movies and television count? And so those individuals on Reddit, why is it always Reddit, who say, well, I don't have time to read. I play video games and I watch movies, so I can write my novel now. Yes, but. So, yes. But it should be in combination with also reading books. I consume an obscene amount of storytelling through visual media. I am a huge film person. I watch way more television than is probably healthy, and I've always been that way. When I was young, as much as I loved books, I was a television junkie. You can do and be both, but it has to be both. If you only play video games and you only watch movies and you only watch television shows and that's your only consumption of storytelling, and you never read a book or listen to a book or whatever the equivalent is, you are missing the other side when it comes to being able to write a book. But I'm not knocking film, video games, television. I do, and I have in other videos, recommend these as supplements to you as storytellers. Watching these things or playing these things can be really, really helpful for all the same things I already talked about. Character arcs, world building, plot, pacing, conflict, stakes. You want to absorb these from a number of places. But actually reading books or listening to books, that's when you're going to get some of the more medium-based craft stuff. It's just, again, it's the rhythm of the sentences, it's the way that words are put together. Obviously, there's grammar and usage in there. It's all of those things put together. So essentially, in order to write, you do need to read. You need to read books in whatever form that is. You need to consume story so that you're able to regurgitate story, not regurgitate, put out story. So that's kind of my soapbox for the day. Do you need to be a reader in order to be a writer? Yes, you do. You do. I'm sorry, you do. But if you disagree, or there's a nuance there, or you agree, hit me up in the comments. I promise not to fight. I'm really worried about posting this on YouTube. I'm sure there will be a couple people who are like, but seriously, I just don't have time to read. Well, you can make time. And like I said, audiobooks. If your problem is that you just reading, if you are dyslexic, that's totally fine. Audiobooks. So many of my friends who have dyslexia listen to audiobooks. It's exactly the same. You were still reading books. Not a book snob. Read. Read books. Consume story. And you will be a better writer. So let's talk down in the comments. If you agree with me, let's just like squad goals here. If you have a differing opinion, let's have a civil discourse. Though might put you up to the video. Like, I think I've made most of my points here, but yeah. A little nervous to post this, but yeah, don't get mad at me. Controversy's hard, guys. Why is it controversial that you have to read books in order to write books? But it is. So, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and you want to hear me rail on about other controversial writing things, give it a thumbs up so I know to make more videos like this. And as always, everyone, happy writing, and dear sweet Lord, please, happy reading. Read books. Read books.